Introduction to the Book of Virtues continued. Every American child ought to know at least some of the stories and poems in this book. Every American parent and teacher should be familiar with some of them too. I know that some of these stories will strike some contemporary sensibilities as too simple, too corny, too old-fashioned. But they will not seem so to the child, especially if he or she has never heard them before. And I believe that if adults take this book and read it in a quiet place, alone, away from distorting standards, they will find themselves enjoying some of this old, simple, corny stuff. The stories we adults used to know and forgot, or the stories we never did know, but perhaps we're supposed to know, are here. Quick, what did Horatius do on the bridge? What is the sword of Damocles? The answers are in this book. This is a book of lessons and reminders. Most of the material in this book speaks without hesitation, without embarrassment, to the inner part of the individual, to the moral sense. Today we speak about values and how it is important to have them, as if they were beads on a string or marbles in a pouch. But these stories speak to morality and virtues not as something to be possessed, but as a central part of human nature, not as something to have, but as something to be. The most important thing to be. To dwell in these chapters is to put oneself, through the imagination, into a different place and time, a time when there was little doubt that children are essentially moral and spiritual beings, and that the central task of education is virtue. This book reminds the reader of a time not so long ago when the verities were the moral verities. It is thus a kind of antidote to some of the distortions of the age in which we now live. I hope parents will discover that reading this book with or to children can deepen their own and their children's understanding of life and morality. If the book reaches that high purpose, it will have been well worth the effort. A few additional notes and comments are in order. Although the book is titled The Book of Virtues and the chapters are organized by virtues, it is also very much a book of vices. Many of the stories and poems illustrate a virtue in reverse. For children to know about virtue, they must know about its opposite. Finally, I hope this is an encouraging book. There is a lot we read of or experience in life that is not encouraging. This book, I hope, does otherwise. I hope it encourages. I hope it points us to the better angels of our nature. This book reminds us of what is important, and it should help us lift our eyes. The Apostle Paul wrote, "Whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good repute. If there is any excellence and anything worthy of praise, let your mind dwell on these things." I hope readers will read this book and dwell on these things.